Hey, this is Zach Polk, Zach Attack. What we got here today is the drawing board scene, my Scooby-Doo ending from my little campaign, my investigative report about the possible um, manipulation of finances on a particular job, railroad repair job. Um, what we've got is the rundown is that. I found a great big pile of boulders in an area where the small stone had been laid to fill in an area where it was really, really mucky, and they wanted to clean it up so that they could service the overpass and upkeep the track. So there was multiple purposes there. And there was a point where there was a large pile of boulders that was discarded or dropped, just left to be, that weren't tended to or returned or any number of questions that one would have with an incomplete job. My suspicion was that somebody got paid a certain amount of money to get some rock, and they filled the load with larger rock so that it would have been heavier, and then they would have been able to bill for a larger portion of money. Pinching the bag is what they did, in my opinion. They were pinching the bag. And in some form of fashion, they did. Not particularly with the rocks, but maybe it was collective. Maybe they pinched it a little bit everywhere, like people do. So what we've got here is a small representation of a chunk of railroad overpass, and then here's the viaduct with cement sloping, and then here's a little bit of grass here. Down here we've got the railroad track section, and these small dots represent the cinders that make up the stones that help secure the placement of the railroad ties, is what those purposes are for. And then, of course, here, there's a little nomenclature drawing board scene for my Scooby-Doo ending, because I grew up watching Scooby-Doo. So you can blame them. Anyway, what we had a large pile of stones. I could make some big stones here. So there was a big pile of stones right here. And in those big pile of stones was a bunch of little stones. So I know, and they weren't on the bottom of the pile, they were within the pile, they were intermingled, they were part of it was part of the load. I should have been a forensics detective. So it was part of the load. My initial assumption was that they overbilled for the rock, basically, and they got extra money in their pocket. Well, chances are that's not the case, and I believe that with the water situation here, coming off of the overpass and coming off of the road, it runs down this hill, and it all kind of collects right here along the side of this deal. And what they do alongside the viaduct, where the spillway is what they probably call it, they take the large boulders and they impact them into the hillside so that the water has something to erode against, a little stronger erosive point. And so they make a little waterfall there to keep the dirt from eroding away from the hillside, thereby just destroying the integrity of the viaduct eventually, is what happens. I'm not an engineer on a train, but I've read the back of a couple of cereal boxes. So the large stones make up for the spillway to take away from the erosive factor. The fact that they left the stones there means they didn't do their job, because otherwise they wouldn't be there in a big pile. The area in this particular location, it has a spillway issue, and it has a erosive issue. And those stones needed to be used in that hillside to protect that viaduct, to protect the integrity of the train crossing and the roadway, etc., etc., etc. So there's still a question. Okay. So I've debunked my own assumptions and my initial assumptions on my first stumbling onto it. But the important thing is that I saw that there was an issue, and thought it through. I was a little bit overly spontaneous with my video production of it, but that's just me. So, you know, this is how you get me, warts and all. There's nothing about this fabricated. If you want to talk about reality TV, this is reality. Me sharing a moment with you right now. I don't work with a script. I wish I had time to write a script. And the script that I did write was the Absent Voices piece that I did as a public address to the world. That you could call that a script. It was a written essay that I had in my possession, and I decided one day to video it. So anyway, now in my investigation, I need to find out, you know, a couple of questions. You know, for one thing, why would you leave the stones lay there? For another thing, how come there's still an erosive issue that's never been attended to? The stones belong in that pile. One of these things is not like the other. Some things go together. And when you see a big area where there's a couple of spillways already initiated, and you see the stonework there, and then you see a big pile of stones, and you see erosive issues where there's no stonework, or the stonework's been washed out because it wasn't properly placed to begin with, you know, it makes you wonder, okay, well, why didn't he do his job or her job? Why didn't they do their job? What interrupted that? Why are the stones left there for, you know, the deer to come down the trail? They've been running the train tracks for years, and they know there's a railroad tie every so many inches, so they step there, and all of a sudden they get to a spot where there's a great big pile of boulders, and the deer twists his ankle, and he wants to sue the railroad company. Well, God darn it! Oh, I just twisted my ankle. Who do I sue? So you got to be careful walking in the dark. The last time I walked train tracks in the dark, I took a trail along a creek, and I took the wrong trail, and I got a little too close to the creek, and I slipped in the mud, and I went right in the drink. After I drank about 4 pitchers of Killian's Red at the Silo Gopher. It was the deepest spot in the darn creek, too. I lost my brand new pants. But my submarine sandwich that I got from Rinaldi's, it was all wrapped nice and tight in a tinfoil package. I got to my camp, it was all nice and toasty warm, and I didn't even get wet a drop. I'll tell you what, them guys at Rinaldi's in Marne, top notch. Anyway, if you have any input to offer on my little scenario here with the railroad tracks, I would love to hear it. I'd like to answer a few of my own questions. You know, find out who's got the ball. I'm coming for that ball. That's my ball. Dan Danabro, Zachary Polk, the New Blue Society on Facebook. Find my book excerpts, Escaping the Despondent Sea, by way of blogspot.com, despondentsea.com, whatever. I don't know .coms, but I got a drawing board.